You know, Oden may have not had the D in his name, but it's like some One Piece fans say. He definitely could have the will of the D clan. What an episode, guys. And can I just say this? By far, the best to be continued ending transition into a scene from the anime's perspective. Honestly, that's the best for me. So there's been many times where the animes had the epic to be continued screen, but that was probably handled like legit the best. That's 10 out of 10. That was the best, to be continued screen we've seen in a while. So yeah, this episode is essentially the death of Oden, and essentially what I would say is the last few things before we get the end of this backstory, which a lot of people are excited about. I know from what I've been seeing in terms of the One Piece anime community, they're like, okay, finally, we're getting close to the end of this thing. I think next week is gonna be the final episode of the backstory. And then we'll finally get back to the present timeline, which everybody's been like, okay, finally, we can get back to the present. Jesus, it's been forever. But anyways, this episode, man, was pretty freaking amazing, man. This episode, like, wow. So let's start off this episode. Anyways, this episode continues where we left the last episode off. Jesus, I don't even have my notes ready, so I'm kind of just doing this like off kilter. So I'm just gonna try to remember everything I can and stuff like that. Now, it's the same thing like last week's episode. Oden's just boiling away in the pot, and essentially, it's just getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and there's not much most people can do. And obviously, freaking at the same time, we have Shinobu explaining like everything that's like what happened, like, oh, Oden freaking is doing this all for you guys and things like that. And that's when we finally get the other ninjas, which are led by Fukurokachu, to finally shut Shinobu up and be like, hey, be quiet, you're speaking too much and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter. Now Shinobu essentially replies, listen, we're gonna get our revenge one of these days. And Fukurokachu is like, I like to see you guys try, but that's probably not going to happen. And essentially, Shinobu's like, well, then fine. You might as well throw me in the pot as well, because I'd die alongside them and stuff like this, because what I'm seeing here, it ain't just right. This isn't right. This is corrupt and everything. And that's when this episode, you also start to see the people of Wano actually be like, oh shit, she's actually telling the truth here. This dude's like, he's legit. We've been lied to, because they cut back to one of the women who was trapped in Orochi's palace, who was about to get sent off to Kaido. She's like, wait, that was Oden that did that, the clown, and the fool essentially. And that's when you have some people just finally start to get behind him, finally start to see the light, that they'd be like, wait, this isn't right. This is the wrong guy that's supposed to be in the pot. The guy who's supposed to be in the pot is supposed to be Kaido and Orochi, not Oden, and stuff like that. Now, there was these special types of arrows that can fly all over Wano and stuff like that, because there's people that were starting to get to the point of begging Orochi, like, yo, just take Oden out of the pot, man. This is going on too far. And that's when Orochi's like, and you have these arrows that can fire anywhere around Wano. Shoot these people. One even gets to Yasui, explaining what the hell's going on currently right now and everything. And that's when people are like, oh shit, this dude is freaking crazy. He don't care and stuff like that. Now we cut back to Oden. Now Oden brings up the point to his scabbard, saying like, look, one, I'm probably not gonna make it out of this alive. So yeah, next I want you guys to I want Wano's borders to be opened up and stuff like that. And essentially this guy, Kinemon's like, yeah, I remember you talked about that and stuff like that. And essentially the reason why Oden wants to open up Wano's borders, he's like, well, you see, 800 years ago, the Kozuki clan closed up the borders of Wano because of a great power that had just essentially become the top power in the world. and stuff like that, or was eclipsing in the world essentially, which we all know 800 years ago was definitely the world government when they finally took control of the entire One Piece world as we know it and defeated the ancient kingdom. And Wano was like, yeah, we don't want none of that action. We're gonna close off our borders and have nothing to do with you guys. Hold on. Anyway, okay, back onto what I was saying. What is it? Anyways, I'm trying to remember where I last left off. Oh, yes. He's talking about opening up the borders to Wano. Essentially, he said, listen, we closed off the borders, but now we need to reopen them. Because, too, he saw, like, yes, it was probably good at the time when Wano's people, the first members of the Kozuki clan in the past, closed off the borders, and then they made the poneglyphs to essentially write and give out all the secrets to what happened those many years ago. But essentially said, we need to reopen the borders up because we need to modernize. We need to have community, have relations and stuff like that. Because I envision too, like with the situation currently going on here, it's like if their borders open up, they would have probably the backings of the Marines to try to block it off to where Kaido's in and stuff like that. And definitely the Marines could definitely be like, wait, something's going on here in Wano, that something's not right here. And maybe they could have assisted Oden. Who knows? That's the thing. It's like, at the time it was good, but now it's like when you have your border closed off and you kind of are under dictatorship with a freaking crazy lunatic of a person and a pirate, mind you, running this country essentially, is essentially gonna run the country into the ground. And obviously Oden's like, hey, yada yada yada, you guys need to find out and stuff like that and do it. So anyways, going on from this point on, you just have the people essentially backing, Oden, like, come on, Oden, you can do it, you can make through it, and stuff like that. Orochi's over here getting very pissed off. He's like, what the hell is this guy made of? He's not dying. That's the whole point of this thing. He's supposed to die. But he didn't die. Or, well, he's not dead yet. So eventually more time passes on and you get to the point where the clock is just ticking, and it finally hits the limit to where it gets to a full hour and stuff like that. The crowd's all cheering and everything, and everybody's happy. The Scabbards are happy that Oden made through it and stuff like that. And Orochi's over here is like, damn it! How did he make it alive out of all this? I know. Tekken gives a really good Orochi voice. I wish I could do his Orochi voice. But essentially, what is it? Orochi's like, get the guns, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And they all have them pointed at Oden and the Scabbards. And essentially, Orochi's like, okay, yeah, you survived the boiling pot, but I don't think you're going to survive a bullet. So what Oden does is he throws his Scabbards. He's like, go, carry out my will, my followers. He throws them out, they all break, and essentially they all get on their feet, start running. They break the shackles off their hands, and essentially Kinemon's like, don't look back, just keep running. And you just get a flash, you just get all the Scabbards reminiscing over the time they first met Oden, the very first time, and what he's done for them in their life and how he's impacted them and stuff like that. Shinobu also joins in on the run, so that's when you can say she officially joined their little group there too. They're getting shot at, and that's kind of it. They're on their way to Curry because Orochi's like, yeah, we're gonna kill your Scabbards, your followers, and your family. So they're off to Curry to go save, obviously, Toki, Momonosuke, and Hiyori. In the meantime, we cut back to Oden. Kaido is like, you know what? I got respect for you. You managed to go through the entire full hour time, and guess what? you managed to live with it. So it's only fair if I do the honors and send you off. Kind of also makes mention, he's like, oh yeah, that old hag, I got rid of her personally. So you don't have to worry about it no more. Which is reference to Higurashi when she transformed into Momonosuke to trick Oden. Kaido's like, you know what? I realized that what I did was a dirty win and was an honorable win. But it's okay. No, listen, I got rid of her. It doesn't matter and stuff like that. So what Oden does before he dies is he gives the same exact type of pose and saying the speech. I forgot the speech, but I think it was like Oden wouldn't be Oden if it wasn't boiled or something like that. Essentially, he said the first part of the speech, but then he gets shot in the dome by Kaido. And what I did like is the other people who saw this, they essentially were like, we have to finish this thing off. And essentially, in honor of saying their, rest in peace to Oden, they finished the line saying, obviously, if he wasn't boiled, yada yada yada. It wouldn't be Oden if it wasn't boiled. And that's where the episode ends off. You get that beautiful transition with the sakura petals just flying in the opening and stuff like that. And next week, we're going to probably get the end of the Oden backstory, where we get the resolution where we see that Toki sends obviously Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Raizo and Momonosuke into the future, gives Hiyori off to Kawamatsu, and that's where she dies. Now, again, there's only a few scabbards. We don't know what happened. We know that Kiku lived throughout the entire 20 years, him. We don't know what happened to Ashura Doji, Nekomamushi, Inararashi, and Denjiro. We don't know what happened to them after they went. More than likely, well, we know what happened to Inarashi and Nekomamushi. They went back to Wano. They went back to Zou. They fled. We don't know what Doji. He's been there. We just don't know what happened to. We don't know what's happened to Denjiro. We don't even know who Denjiro is. So it's gonna be very interesting to see the resolution. We're finally getting back to the present storyline. We're probably gonna end the episode off, cutting back to the present storyline after the scabbards have reflected all this time and stuff like that, waiting on the people on the ships, wondering, will they be here and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be very, very freaking interesting to see what happens next. I definitely can't wait, like many other people, to get back to the present storyline, because I know people said this freaking stuff is dragged out, even though it was good. And it was good. I will say this, like I said, backstories from time to time do drag out, and they do get like, okay, can we get back to the present storyline? And stuff like that. So yeah, no, listen, if people aren't be complaining about this backstory being too long, just wait till we get the ancient history backstory. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. When Oden was talking about opening the country, he wanted the country to be presentable for the same man, which he's referencing at Joy Boy when he reappears again, further hinting at the fact that Joy Boy is going to come back, not as a reincarnation, but like the original Joy Boy. So that's gonna be very interesting. I almost forgot to mention that point. I can't believe I almost forgot that. But yeah, that's kind of it. So if you guys liked the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of One Piece, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get more One Piece content. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention, guys. One more thing. When Oden died, he smiled. Like most members of the D-Clan smiled we've seen in the storyline die. Again, it's not saying that, Oden is a member of the D-Clan. It's just saying like he has this sort of Will of D type of atmosphere behind him. Because at the end of the day, he's always going to be a Kozuki. I just found it interesting that he did the whole smile thing like Roger and a bunch of other people did and stuff like that. But that's just me. I wanted to bring this quick point I almost forgot to mention it in the video, but yeah, other than that, that's kind of just it. So anyways, guys, again, I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, peace.